Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to today's vlog. Here to give you a preview of week 11 of the 2014 college football season. Now many believe that this is going to be called Separation Saturday because this is going to be the beginning of the end for some of these teams and possibly the end of some of these teams for their seasons, particularly in making it to the college football playoff at the end of the year, but still respectively to try to make it to their conference championships. Now I'm going to start with the game between the Baylor Bears, 12th ranked team in the nation, against number 15 Oklahoma. Now this game is going to be played at Norman and this could be an upset for Baylor, but I'm going to have to stick with the Bears in this one. They did a great job against my Texas Longhorns, winning 28-7 compared to OU squeaking past my Longhorns 31-26 in that Red River shootout. I'm still concerned about Oklahoma's offense. They're still pretty inconsistent with Travis Knight at the helm at quarterback. He's still a good, decent quarterback, well-rounded quarterback, but he's been a bit inconsistent this season. And because of that, I have to go with the Bears in this matchup. Headed over to the SEC Conference, number 20, Georgia is going to be playing at Kentucky. Now, last week, it was a shocking loss for Georgia, losing against Florida 38-20 due to the ground rushing attack from the Gators. Now, they're playing against Kentucky, who started off their season off with 5-1, surprising many people, including myself. But for the next games, they actually lost 3 straight, and I'm gonna have to call this game as a win for Georgia and giving Kentucky their 4th straight loss. Next game is going to be a big matchup in the Big Ten West Division. Iowa's going to be traveling to Minnesota to face the Gophers. Now, for the West Division of the Big Ten Conference, the race is between Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. So this is going to be a big game. Whoever wins this game, the loser, will definitely be out of the race contention for the Big Ten Championship. Now, for this matchup, I'm going to have to actually go with Iowa in this one. I think what they really need to do is they need to slow down David Cobb. If they slow down David Cobb, they will win this matchup. They're going to have to put more pressure towards the quarterback position. But this is going to be an interesting game. At first, I was going to go with Minnesota, but now I changed my mind and went with Iowa. I think that James Reddick is going to have a decent game against that Minnesota defense. And headed back to the SEC Conference, Texas A&M is going to be traveling to face number 3 Auburn. Auburn's been playing brilliantly for the past couple of weeks. A big win last week against Ole Miss. Now for Texas A&M, they actually had to suspend quarterback Kenny Hill due to team violations. So he's actually out for he was actually out the previous game, but he's going to be out for this matchup, which means Kyle Allen's going to get the starting nod at quarterback for this game. And because this Texas A&M team's been struggling for most past weeks, same with they have the same type of season as Kentucky has been having, starting their season off 5-0, but then losing 3 straight SEC matches, and I think this is going to be their 4th straight SEC match because Auburn's a great team both offensively and defensively. Next game was a nominee for my game of the week. Number 10 Notre Dame going to be traveling to Tempe to face number 9 Arizona State. This is going to be a good game for you guys to watch. Now this is going to be a key matchup for Notre Dame, particularly because they're not part of a conference, they're an independent school, so this is a big must win. Same for Arizona State, but even if they do lose, they still have a chance of making it to the Pac-12 championship. Now for Notre Dame and quarterback Everson Golson, he needs to do a better job securing the football, in which he has been showing in recent weeks in college football and in his college play, but he still needs to make better decisions. If he is under pressure, he needs to do a better job in throwing the football away and making it back to the next play and try to make things up. He just needs to work on that just a little bit. Now for this matchup, I'm going to have to go with Arizona State in this one. They've been looking pretty good at home, except for that loss against UCLA, but they're putting that game behind them, and they're actually still trying to recover, still cracked it within the top 10, and I have to call this game as my upset game of the week. Now it's not really look like an upset game because it's between a team that's ranked number 10 in the nation compared to a number 9 for Arizona State, but I have to call this an upset because I'm going to go against Notre Dame, and if they lose, their season is pretty much up. They will not make it to the college football playoff, but they are bowl eligible. Next game, number 23 West Virginia is going to be traveling to Texas to face my Longhorns. Longhorns, who is having a terrible year so far, 4-5. They're still trying to make bowl contention at the end of the year. They're not on bowl eligible just yet. They have 3 games remaining, and these are scary three scary games. And for Texas, they have a good defense, but offensively, they need to do a great job running the football. They're not really doing too well. They have Malcolm Brown, Jonathan Gray, and both of these 2 players are not really playing up the par. They're not averaging even under 5 yards per carry, actually averaging 4.5 yards per carry, under 4.5 yards per carry. And in this matchup, I'm going to have to go with West Virginia. Clint Trickett's doing a great job throwing the football. They had a good fight last week against TCU and a home loss, but still, TCU is a great team, one of the best teams in the Big 12 Conference. Next game, a Sun Belt Conference showdown between Georgia Southern traveling to Texas State to face the Bobcats. Now, for Georgia Southern, this is a former FCS team who just converted to the FBS division and joining the Sun Belt Conference in their rookie season. And so far, they are 6-0 in conference play, 7-2 overall. And in those 2 losses against NC State and Georgia Tech, they lost by a combined 5 points. This Eagle team has been doing great so far this season. They're playing against a 3-1 Texas State team, 3-1 in conference play, 5-3 overall. I have to go with the Eagles in this matchup. They're actually leading the nation with 404 yards per game rushing per game. I'm headed over to the ACC. Virginia is going to be playing number 2 Florida State. This is a little bit of an upset alert, but I'm still going to go with Florida State in this one. And the reason why this could be an upset alert because people are concerned about Jameis Winston, the star quarterback for the Noles, his ankle. But he actually had to deal with that ankle injury in that big come from behind win against Louisville. And I think that because of Jimbo Fisher has a lot of confidence in him, and Jimbo Fisher even said that he should be good for this matchup. This should be a good win, an easy win for the Noles. Headed back to the Pac-12 conference. 2 versatile players, 2 of the most versatile players in college football is going to be playing against each other. Number 18 UCLA and running back / linebacker Miles Jack versus linebacker / running back Shaq Thompson of Washington. This is going to be a great Pac-12 match to watch. That's why I had to call out this game. But for Marcus Peters, the star cornerback for the Washington Huskies, he's actually been dismissed with the team because of another argument with an assistant coach. So the team had to dismiss him, and this is a tough loss on the defensive side. And Marcus Peters is a great cornerback, one of my top 5 corners entering for the 2015 NFL Draft. And because of this loss, I have to easily go with UCLA. There's still Washington still has Haloe Kihaha at the defensive end, who is leading the nation in sacks and tackles for loss. But with the loss of Marcus Peters, I think that Brett Hundley's going to do the good job throwing the football against that Husky defense, even though the game is at Washington. Big 12 showdown, another nominee for my game of the week, number 7 Kansas State against number 6 TCU. This was an debacle for me. I had a hard time picking who will win this matchup. Both of these 2 teams are great, respectively. For TCU, they have a much flashier offense with Trevon Boykin at the helm at quarterback, and for Kansas State, they have a decent quarterback and Jay Waiters. The team actually averages 38 points per game for Kansas State. And TCU has a great offense and the defense as well. For both of these 2 teams, 18 points per game compared for Kansas State compared to 21 points per game allowed, 22 points per game allowed for TCU. Now for this matchup, at first I had to go with TCU, but then I just recently decided to change my mind, and I'm going to have to go with Kansas State in this one. Mainly because even though this is not a flashy team, they don't pull out big numbers, and many people believe that this is a boring offensive team. This team definitely always finds a way to get the job done and get the wins. And because of that, I have to go with Kansas State over TCU. Headed back to the SEC game. Conference. This is going to be a big match. Just about all the teams in the entire nation is looking at this match in the SEC. Number 5 Alabama at number 16 LSU. Now LSU upset Ole Miss a couple of weeks ago, and that was a big win for the Tigers, and they're at home again to try to ruin things for Alabama. And the reason why that everybody's looking at this particular matchup, because many believe that 2 SEC teams can possibly make it to the college football playoff at the end of the season. And if Alabama loses, that would definitely cause a lot of problems and a big scare for Auburn, who has to face Alabama at the end of the season. Before this game, I'm going to have to go with the Crimson Tide in this one. They're doing good, a much better job offensively, and they have a huge weapon in Amari Cooper, who could be a nominee for this year's Heisman at the end of the season, and he is still my top wide receiver of this nation so far. Lastly, number 4, Oregon at number 17, Utah. Now, Utah does have a good defense, but they're pretty beat up. They lost a key player in Drace Anderson in offense. Travis Wilson has not been playing too well offensively at quarterback for the Utes. This should be an easy win for Oregon, so I'm going to have to call number 4, Oregon over the Utes in that matchup. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys will be tomorrow, where I will give you a full preview of my game of the week. Number 14, Ohio State at number 8, Michigan State. This game's going to be at East Lansing. This is going to be a great game for you guys to watch, and I'm going to give you my keys to victories for both these two teams tomorrow, while I will give you a preview for this individual game. Thank you for watching today's blog. From the Football Source, I'm your man, Keenan McCall. Be easy.